So this is the part 2 for the engines final. Just a collision now under the drawables. So in the .h, it has another enum for checking what status is it at. Here we have where it draws the object and then getting a reference iter. In the private, we have it's setting the reference iter, and then in the protected, we have it registering to a scene. And in the CPP, it does all of that stuff. Here we have, let's see, the list of draws. We need to make a list of all the different things that are being drawn. Processing elements, because it's in the manager. Registering and deregistering, and then a terminate. So in here, terminate deletes the private instance. Registering, deregistering, processing the elements of draw. Input is going to be very similar to this also, because it has key press, key release, and then the status of what it is. Takes in a registration command, deregistration command, and then here we have the input for key pressed, key released, and then inputs an object. Submitting key registration, submitting key deregistration, getting the iterator ID, setting the registration status, and then in the private it's all of the different variables that we need, and then setting the different myrefer IDs. And then in the CPP, it is submitting registration command, submit registration command, ID, everything there. The base class here takes that event type, so it knows what it is. So when the event type, it lets you know if it's the key release or the key press. So special constructor, once again, deregister, process elements in a register, and then all the variables that they need. So then in the CPP, there's the base control setting this key to key. Deregister, process elements, and then the register for the input manager. Once again, getting the input type, deregistering an object, processing the elements, registering an object. And then the functions that for what they do. Same thing, how it's checking the register status, the pending, depending, or pending, or just doing it. Same thing overall. Yeah, so the update, run class, set reference iter, all of that. I'll have this changed to have all the documentation for when I upload my documentation stuff for the final. It seems that I missed one CP or 1.h. And then in here it's the deregister, the set reference iter, and all of that. Same thing for this one. Update list, process elements, register, deregister, and then in here it does that all. So for game object, CPP and H, it's registering an object, deregistering an object, the status, and then scene entry, scene exit, submit entry, submit exit, register to scene, deregister to scene, get registration status, setting the status, connecting and disconnecting to the scene. And in here is submitting the entry, submit exit, register to scene, deregister to scene, everything that it is doing in the .h. So the game object, the math tools class was pretty simple. Here we have the math tools doing the intersecting, and that it's a singleton right now. I can't remember if you said not to have it as a singleton or just have it all static stuff. But I can go back through and change that for next quarter. And then it does the intersecting here. The scene manager manages the updates, manages draws, allowables. So you need to have all those things, different things included. Or, sorry, not included, forward declared. Where's this stuff start? So you need to initialize, update, draw. Then you have a scene end, register, update. You're basically registering and deregistering everything that you needed to do inside the game object class, so it can the scene knows what to do with it for when it's being overwritten. So in the scene CPP, the scene is making pointers to all of those different managers, so it can keep track of everything. And then there's just nothing in them because they're going to be overwritten. Scene end calls the cleanup for the collision. And everything else in there. Scene manager is a singleton. This sets the active scene. This is the active scene, sorry. This is the private get scene function, private initialize, set scene, update, draw, scene change. And then there's public versions of each of them. It's at the public section. So here it's not doing anything inside the private initialize. What it's doing, setting the active scene to the null scene to begin with, because that's how it starts. From there, it's doing get scene and everything else down here. And then in the registration broker, which is pretty simple, it's adding commands, removing commands, and executing commands. So in here, it's just adding, removing, executing commands. The sprite, sorry for that, has a special constructor once again. Then it sets the angle, scale, position, center, and then update, and then renders. And then in here, setting angle, scale, position, update, center. I do not have time to get in yet, but that will be in for next quarter. And render. Template was just this .h here with the default constructor of the inline explicit collider of default, the destructor, then a deregister, a register, and a get collider. It's a singleton also. Pretty easy. Private deregister, private register, get collider, everything that was needed to be in there. So in the freeze time, which was something that I didn't show in the video that I can actually show right now. If I shoot out a bullet and hit F10, I can hit F9 to have it step one at a time through to do the freeze frame. Then I hit F10 again, and it just keeps on going. So that's the freeze frame. F9, F10. And then it's the wait for return frozen time is the function that I have called. Hack time key for when it works, and then in the CPP it's there. Sorry, also get time in seconds. Get time in seconds runs first, and then the wait time. Then it runs the hacked key release, so it knows what to do. The time manager gets time in gets frame time. Sorry, gets time in seconds. Updates the time, and then the other public variables that I had, and then the private versions of all of them, because this is a singleton. Private update time, get time in seconds, all of the good stuff. Visualizer, CPP and .h. So this is setting the initial color to honeydew, and then setting it to the default color. This is making the wireframe unit sphere. Then there's a delete object function, a private render sphere, render bsphere, show a private version for the show bsphere, a private version for and visualize all. Sorry, and then there's that. So in here it's running all this, which is to get it to show the unit sphere. But in the show bsphere, this was what we have it. So it shows the bsphere around the ship that you saw in the game. Main.cpp was the same since the beginning, Prometheus and all that. .h for this initializes an object, loads content, updates draws, unload content, set width height, set window name, get height, get width, get time in seconds. It's a singleton, so then there's the private versions of all of those functions. Then in here, mostly everything's commented out. Just these graphic objects which show there. You initialize with init game, loading the content. So you're loading the default models, and then you're loading also all the resources. This gets the scene that will be shown in the camera. This updates time. Then there's also running scene manager update, scene manager draw on the draw, and then the set width height, set window name, get height, get all that. And then it terminates it when it's on close. So that's everything inside my main engine. The last video I'm going to make will be a short third part which goes over the user code and then the Prometheus resources. So that's part 2. Thank you.